Hi everybody, we are back in the man cave of an acting teacher for another video, and I did manage to find another t-shirt, would you believe, in the bottom of the t-shirt section of my wardrobe. It's a bit smelly, but it's a nice t-shirt. There you go. I don't know how many more I'm going to be able to find for you. So look, thanks for the messages and the comments from all over the place. I really appreciate them. It's so nice to hear from people as well, you know, especially people that, you know, I've got on Facebook there, and we have so much in common. We have all these like 200 friends in common, and we're in the arts and everything else, but we don't really know each other, and then someone just drops me a personal message, and it's just lovely. So like, thanks very much. It's great. And I'm glad you're enjoying the videos and getting something from them, even if it's just to spend 10 or 12 minutes of your day watching this instead of twiddling your thumbs or worrying about stuff, right? So look, I hope everyone's doing well. A question the other day to do with where should I train as an actor, okay? And another conversation I was having this morning with an actor who had to unfortunately quit her course because it was not good. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too. Now, I did talk a bit about training in a previous video, but I didn't devote an entire video to it. It was more about how to get started in the business, you know, which was to do with other things as well, like, you know, CVs and headshots and showreel material. So wind back and find that one if you want to know about that stuff too. Hashtag Man Cave of an Acting Teacher. You can find all of these on there now, and I've also uploaded them to my YouTube YouTube channel. I'm very new to YouTube, so I'm just working out how that all kind of goes, right? So anyway, you can find them around the place, and if you want me to send it on to you, let me know, right? I'm sure I'll track it down somewhere. Training. Let me get to it and stop babbling, right? Okay, so where should you train? What are the options? Let's go through it in order with a bit of a structure here. There are the big schools, right, which are kind of your general schools, right? So that's like the Lear, the Gaiety School of Acting in Ireland, and there are many in London and England as well. There's, you know, RADA and Central, and it depends on what you want to do. Some of them sort of not cater, but sort of specialize in things like musical theatre. So if you're into musical theatre and you've got a great voice and dance and all the rest as well, and you're a bit of a triple threat, you might want to go to somewhere like Mountview or LIPA rather than RADA, for example, right? Although you get a bit of everything in these big major schools, right? In Ireland, like I said, there's the Lear, which is a degree. There's the Gaiety, which I don't think is a degree. I think it's still a 2-year course. I haven't taught there for some time, but I think it's still a 2-year course, and it's a diploma, okay? The Lear is 3 years, and it's a degree, all right? Okay, so number one is, let's on that point, is it good to have a degree, right? No. Okay, it means very little. You'll never be asked to show your degree in an audition, okay? So on a practical level, don't sort of go to a school because of the degree element, right? Remember that no school can promise you success. No school has a high success rate for their actors. You know, it's usually around 1% of their actors who become that super big, rich, famous kind of actor that you're thinking of when you think that that school is going to get you to that place. It just doesn't work that way, right? So you ask yourself what you want to do, right? And ask yourself what kind of training you want to get, all right? Now, the thing about these big schools like this is that the teaching in them, I went to one myself, right? So I'm speaking from a place of experience, of personal experience. The teaching or the learning in there is quite general. Now, I don't mean generalized, okay? Meaning that it's sort of watered down in some way. It's not, okay? You get a lot of really great teachers working in places like this, okay? They will teach you all sorts of different things. You'll get movement and voice, and you'll have probably singing and dance elements in there, as well, of course, as your acting training, and you'll probably be introduced to a whole lot of different techniques, right? But you probably, again, just talking from my own experience, you won't be taught one of those techniques in any intensive, in-depth way, the way you would be taught it if you went and studied that one technique intensively on its own, okay? Now that kind of makes sense. You can imagine that they're not able to do that, and that's not what the course is for, okay? So what happens there is you go to one of those schools and you learn all of these different things, and through all of that learning, you end up kind of developing your own way, your own technique from the knowledge that they give to you, okay? All right. The other way, as I just said, is to, oh yeah, before I go on to that, if you audition for one of these schools, remember that they're very famous schools. Everybody wants to audition for them and everyone wants to go to them, right? So they will sometimes audition hundreds, if not thousands of actors each year, and they can only take in 16, 20, maybe 26 in their intake each year. So if you don't get in, if you audition and you get rejected, I said this in a previous video, don't let it get you down. It's madness to think that they were the only 16 good actors who auditioned for that school that year. It doesn't work that way. The school simply cannot take in more than that small intake into the school. Okay? All right. So that's that. Now, the other thing, of course, is single technique intensive courses, right? So if you wanted to study Meisner technique or Chekhov technique or method or my technique, right? Then what you would be doing is going to those particular schools and studying that one technique in an intensive and immersive way, all right? And then you get a very practical, very intensive downloading of that technique, and you practice that and you become very, very good at it, okay? So it heads you towards a sort of a feeling of mastery in that particular technique, okay? Now, they will be shorter courses because it's only one technique that's being taught. So mine is the Applied Art of Acting, and it's 3 months, half 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So it's intense, right? And very immersive and full-time, yeah? It's obviously not as expensive as going to one of the big schools, but that's because it's not as long, right? So it doesn't mean that, you know, theirs or mine is better or worse than the other. They're actually completely different things. And that's really important to understand, right? There's different kinds of courses that you can do, and one is not better than the other. The Lear cannot do what I do, and I cannot do what the Lear does. They're actually different courses, so you have to ask yourself what you want to do. Ask the Lear what exactly they teach. Okay, I'm not going to speak for them. They can do that themselves, right? Send them an email, look at their prospectus, and if there is more information that you want, ask them, yeah? If you want to know about my course, ask me. People do all the time. They say, Dave, look, I'm going to give you a phone call and I want you to explain exactly what my day-to-day existence in this course will be like. I did that recently for Shifra, who's maybe watching this, who gave me a call and said, okay, Dave, I want to know what happens between 9:30 and 5 for that 12 weeks, right? Monday to Friday, so that I know exactly what I'm getting into. Do that. Yeah, absolutely do that. That's their job. That's what they should be explaining that to you, right? So then you make your choice. That's full-time training, okay? There is also part-time training, okay, because sometimes we just can't commit. If you have a child or if you have a huge rent in this climate that we're in and you just can't afford even a short intensive full-time course, then there are part-time options in the evenings, and most schools offer those, including myself, on Wednesday nights and Friday nights, and we can do that too. You clearly won't get the intensive and immersive element, right, in a part-time course, but you get the same information. Well, I'm speaking for my courses here now, okay? I don't know about the Gaiety or the Lear or whatever, because there'll be different teachers and things in there, and I haven't sat in on their classes, so I can't speak for them, right? But I know that in my courses, in the Wednesday workshop, for example, you learn exactly the same stuff that I teach in the Applied Art of Acting, but I can't give you the intensive and immersive experience of bringing you to a kind of point of mastery in a part-time format, 3 hours on a Wednesday night for 10 weeks. It just doesn't, it's not possible to do that. But it's still worth doing because you still get the information, you get the knowledge, and then you can practice that at home, and then bring it back into the studio and work on scenes, and you know, then you've got your studio experience, okay? Should you study theatre or screen acting? Up to you, okay? My own personal opinion, just my opinion, is that, you know, the best actors that, you know, I know and my favourite actors are all theatre trained actors, even though they have stellar screen careers behind them. I think that the theatre element is a full body experience, if I can put it that way. It's incredibly scary, right? That live element as well. I think if you can do that, you can do just about anything, right? And to create a character that needs to exist in front of a live audience, I think is much more difficult than screen acting. Not to cheapen screen acting, it is difficult in its own ways as well. But yeah, I think get some theatre training under your belt at some point. There are screen acting courses that you can do, and that's absolutely fine too. They're great. I just, you know, and there's some really, well, again, there's some really good teachers out there and not so good teachers, but, you know, they're worth doing too. I just think that theatre element, if you can get that at some point in your training, I think it's worth doing. Okay, for a lot of different reasons that I can't go into in depth here, right? Okay. So finally, my friend who didn't have a great time, right, and had to quit her course, she admittedly said that the teachers were fine. The teachers in her school were particularly good, she thought, right? But the structure of it wasn't there, right? And the schedule wasn't tight. Her time, she felt, wasn't used efficiently, right? And she wasn't given enough to do. She was understimulated as a result of that lack of structure and a lack of organization. That's the word I'm looking for. It wasn't organized, right? So if you're going to go to a particular school, any school at all, ask about that too. Ask other people who've gone to that school, you know. They will be more of an authority on it than I will, right? I'm only passing on, you know, stuff that other people have said about some place, and I don't like to do that. I don't like passing on information from other people, because maybe an actor might come to me and say, oh, Dave, this school is really, really crap. But in fact, it was that actor's fault rather than the school. You know, they might have been, you know, they might have had a falling out somewhere in there, or something might have gone wrong with the way they approached the work. So I don't pass on that, right? But do talk to people who have been in those schools. Talk to various people, a number of people, so you can get different perspectives on it as well, right? But certainly, you know, like any service of anything, of any place you go where you're learning a skill, a language, anything, if it's not properly organized, they're taking your money and sticking it in their pocket and teaching you nothing, right? And that's not fair, right? So make sure that you do get that organization. You deserve it. You're paying your money. It should be structured, and you should be learning in every single class and heading towards a knowledge of a technique, okay? And if it's not designed that way, then, you know, it might be worth looking around for something else, okay? Unfortunately, look, I like to be as magnanimous and generous as I can, but look, obviously there are places out there in the world that, you know, are just, you know, charlatans. You know, they're just trying to take money off people, and it's just not fair, right? So look, if it's any consolation, that particular school was not in Ireland, right? So if you're sitting there and you're one of the schools in Ireland going, oh my God, is someone bad-mouthing my school? Did someone have a bad time in my school? It wasn't in Ireland, okay? So don't sweat it, you're fine, right? But look, again, you know, some people react differently to different places and different training techniques. I'm sure there's people who've trained with me that, you know, now go, yeah, you know, that was all right, right? And there's other people who, you know, think that I'm the bee's knees, and I'm sure that, you know, you can't please all the people all the time, but, you know, us acting teachers, I mean, can't please all the people all the time, but we should be trying our best to please all the people all the time, and to make sure that every single actor in the class moves along well and learns properly. And if your teacher isn't doing that, or it's not organized in that direction, you know, you have a right to put your foot down about it, you know. All right, there's a little bit of a gruff ending to this video in the man cave today. I'm going to stop, all right? It's another sunny day. I'm going to go out there. It's a bit cooler, but it's a sunny day. If you would like a class with me online, let me know. Please support your your self-employed friends who are trying now to transition their work onto online so that they can not starve, right? Keep them in mind, your yoga teachers, your music teachers, your singing teachers, your dance teachers, whoever else is out there, right? Trying to put their gear online and their services online. And you take care of yourself, all right? And remember, try and stay positive. And if you can't, don't worry about that too, all right? Don't beat yourself up. It's okay to feel a bit down these days. Try and turn it around. If you want to talk to me, you know where to find me. All right, guys, take it easy. Bye.